do, 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 do. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning. Da, 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 da. Good morning to you. I am just editing my stream because the interweb is deciding what I can and can't do. Good morning, James. Good morning, Jude. Good morning, good morning. It's Monday morning. It's so exciting. Okay, and we are already live on everywhere. Where are we? We're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Twitch. We are live on YouTube. Hello, everybody. Good morning. It is Motivational Monday, and it's Monday, the 11th of November. I can't believe that it's already November, and here we are talking about, well, we're going to be talking about all sorts, but hey, I've been thinking about Christmas because I don't know about you, but bonfire night's over, and now we're really just motoring on towards that Christmas period. But before we do, I'm going to talk to you about my weekend. So at the weekend, and hey everybody, please do invite your friends in. Invite people that are here. I should do the same, really. That should be something I do and not just expect other people do. Hey Amanda, you okay? I'm just going to ping a couple of people in case they want to come. 1 minute. Good morning, Amanda. Ba, 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 ba. 1 minute. There we are. They're probably all in bed. I'm not in bed because I've just come back from London. There we go. There's one. There we go. Okay. Just going to go for that one as well. I'll be 2 seconds, people. Everybody on Facebook, please bear with me. I'm busy doing my housework. Oh, I can't spell. There we go. There we are. I've invited a few people that we need to. Okay, well, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am just back from London, and here we are on Motivational Monday, and I am Mandy Jane. I am a trainee social worker in Wales, and I run Accessibility Partners, and I'm founder for Inclusion. I'm not the only one in inclusion, though. All these amazing people on this stage are also in inclusion with me, and we have been banging the drum and building the bridges and overcoming the barriers for many, many years, but really powerfully on this app for the last 4. Now, today is actually day 9 of my 55-day challenge. And my 55-day challenge that I set for myself is, I thought it was going to be easier than the hand cycle marathon I did last year, but it isn't. It's actually harder. I've got a 55-day challenge of, excuse me, a minute, of wearing a different Christmas jumper every day, writing content for that day, and then getting it posted on the Inclusion website. So if you'd like to see our new Advent calendar, and it begins on November the 1st, because we're just that cool, we make Advent 55 days. So if you don't know, it's less than 55 days to Christmas. In fact, of course, it's less than 40 days to Christmas, because we are, oh no, tomorrow it's 40 days. It's 41 days to Christmas because we're on day 9 of 55. I don't know whether that works out, but anyway. We're not so far off Christmas. We're definitely on day 9. And today is all about bridging gaps and overcoming division and building bridges. Now, I've been for the weekend to London to visit Dr. Tuppy Owens, and Tuppy Owens is a groundbreaker. She is a pioneer. She is a creator of building bridges and of overcoming division. And she has been bridging gaps since the 1950s. I'll talk to you about which gaps she's been bridging very, very soon. There's a couple of people that know about her. Hundreds, actually. There were well over 100 at her birthday party. And that was at Heaven in London. So Sir Isaac Newton reportedly said that men build too many walls and not enough bridges, which I think is quite funny, especially when he said men, because I'll be honest, I think it's men and women. I think it's people of all gender that build too many walls and not half enough bridges. Now, what I mean by building bridges is when we grow healthy connections with each other, when we foster that connection. Now, we might not agree on everything the same way. We might not have the same opinions. We might not have the same political allegiance. We may not have the same education background. We may not believe in the same things. But actually, mutually understanding each other and being open to listening to other perspectives will help not only you and your relationships, or mine and my relationships, but the communities that I reside within. I believe that we all have, importantly, our own goals and our own tastes and our own perspectives. I saw that this weekend. It was Tuppy Owen's party, and it was at Heaven, and it was in line with what usually happens in Outsiders, which is the Sexual Freedom Ball, in that there were people being quite free in the way that they express themselves. There were some ping pong balls. I'll leave that to your imagination on a Monday morning at 6 a.m. And I saw lots and lots and lots of flesh. And it was a beautiful affair, a beautiful affair. And we all have our own tastes and perspectives about that. The thing is, I don't think that this weekend there'll be some people that looked at what we were watching and being part in. There was burlesque, and there was some striptease, and there was the girl with the ping pong balls, like I say. And like I say, I'm leaving that to your imagination. But I don't think that that means that we dehumanize those people. I think that it solves the problem of the gaps between us and the bridges that we need to take and make, because it isn't about persuading anybody. It's about being allowed to be who we are. Do you know, it takes somebody like me that isn't a white middle class male, stale grey male, 2.5 times to work harder by 2.5 times in order that I reach the same level playing field as a man in business in my position. So it isn't about persuading, but it is about understanding. It's about understanding that divisions occur because people can't agree. They can't agree, and they don't understand the other perspective, and they haven't really thought about it often. I find that when I say to people racism still exists, they say no, 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 we're not allowed to do that anymore. But we know all sorts of crazy statistics about that. You know, you are so much more likely, if you're a black man, to be stopped. You are so much more likely to not get drugs, pain relief drugs, if you're a black woman in childbirth. White women are more likely to get pain relief than black women, for example. I, as a disabled person, will have to work 2.5 times harder in order that I can be at the same level playing field as other people, but particularly as men. So it is about understanding each other's perspective and where those perspectives come from. Have you ever heard somebody say, oh, she's aggressive, disabled person? Well, are you surprised she's fairly aggressive? Because, to be honest, she can't get a lift, she can't get a meal, she can't get in a vehicle, she can't get on a train, she can't get into university, her placements didn't have a lift. And I'm just talking about myself right now. Just me as a trainee social worker in Wales. Understanding where they come from and understanding why I get quite so vehement about being included and about accessing the same and building those bridges and understanding the divides between us is critical. And what I'm asking people to do this morning is to remain curious and think about good questions as a starting point, rather than making statements about a situation that perhaps you either haven't thought about, or you don't understand, or you haven't been through. Because that's a good starting point, isn't it? It's a good starting point to allow people to be heard. And this weekend I went to the Grand in Trafalgar Square, and I'll be honest, I didn't book it. My PA booked it, and I thought that's a bit grand. And then I got there and I realised that they may have the architecture, but actually they didn't have the facilities. So much so that there's a lift at the front, but you can't open it until you ring a bell. And they say that they do that because they don't want anyone misusing the lift. I suggested that maybe they weren't going to put bollards on the stairs just in case the tramps laid on there and slept. but they will protect the lift from anyone using it, which prevents me from accessing it when I want to. They said, well, we're protecting the lift for you. And I said, well, see it from my perspective. I'm in the hotel and I can't get out unless I ask one of you to come and help me, and you're also very busy. And when I come back to the hotel, I have to stand outside, well, sit outside and press the bell until somebody comes. Allowing somebody to feel heard and express how their experience is and what your decision or their decision or the decision has meant for them is really helpful in building those bridges and overcoming those gaps, the divide. It allows you also to gain knowledge yourself, new information, like when I couldn't get in the gym. I could get in the gym, but I couldn't get any water, and I couldn't reach the weights because the kettlebells were in the way of me reaching them. I couldn't turn the music on because I couldn't reach the buttons, and I couldn't reach the towels because they were up in the sky. And there were so many machines in there, running machines, rowing machines, stepping machines, but there wasn't one hand cycle. And going to the gym's hard enough. I don't know whether you've ever got up in the morning and gone, right, I'm off to the gym, and when you get there you can't reach anything. It's emotionally draining. It literally is. I ended up swearing more this weekend than I probably have for months, and I really am getting quite sweary, to the point that my brother rang me and said, what's up with the Tourette's then? And I said, I haven't got Tourette's, I'm just bloody angry. But it can be. And we know that unless we keep banging the drum of building those bridges and overcoming those gaps, that actually those changes cannot become incremental. We have to build on the last gain and build again. So I will be going back to the Grand today and saying, your gym is not accessible. Your front is not accessible. There wasn't any food last night. Your kitchen was closed. It really isn't. It beggars belief. I actually said I'd have been better off in the Ibis, which sounds a bit harsh, but true. The reality is that we shouldn't have to have it just resting on our shoulders alone. But in this interconnected world, it is time that we found our common ground together. As I self-reflect on this weekend, I realise that I am the change that I want to see. And in fact, if I'm not going around the streets of London, who is? But it also reminds me that I need to be patient, because time and grace in this journey is imperative towards unity. Without it, I will just become too angry and too discombobulated. It is emotionally draining, and it's also very exciting. This weekend was Tuppy's 80th birthday. Now, Tuppy Owens, Dr. Tuppy Owens, got an honorary doctorate because she has forged the way for disabled people to have sex. Now, I know what I've said on a Monday morning. I realise that I've said sex, and I've realised I've said disabled people having sex, and I realise that that's not a thing that people talk about anytime, let alone Monday morning at 6 a.m. But the reason I want to motivate you in that direction is, if we can get over the awkward and we can work out that disabled people wish to and can and do copulate, then maybe the rest, like getting into a lift and going to a restaurant and having access to a train and going to work, for goodness sake, might just become commonplace. But until we really do get over the awkward and realise that all of us really are the same, and overcoming our barriers is just about seeing our similarities and understanding our basic humanity, then we really don't start to all sit at the same table having the same conversation about the fact that really we all feel quite alone. There's those times, isn't there, in the world where you look and go, they're all aliens. I'm just a weirdo, I'm a freak, and I can't fit in. Well, we all fit in. It's just that we all fit in individually. And I believe that we need to connect with each other and understand each other's perspective, whether or not we agree with it. Now, Tuppy Owens has been fighting since the 50s to allow disabled people to have sex. By that, I mean she opened a club called the Outsiders Club, and she opened it because in her circle of friends, she had a friend who was becoming blind, and she swore that she would support him throughout his life, no matter what happened. And they started the Outsiders Club because he said that he felt like an outsider. Now, I don't like the name. I don't like the name because it makes me remind me of the fact that I am excluded. And in fact, we are all excluded. We are at risk of excluding each other. because of our misunderstanding and our misappropriation of what people are and how they behave. And on the 20th of this month, which is only 9 days ago, I'm speaking with Cindy Gallop at SHADA, which is the Sexual Health and Disability Association conference. And we are talking about make love, not porn. And if you hashtag make love not porn, you can go and see Cindy Gallop. Cindy Gallop has I think it's the most watched TED talk or something, because she says, I'm going to say it, come on my face 5 times in one TED talk. And I think it was 15 years ago that got rid of somebody. Sorry about that. Sorry to be offensive, but there we are. That's what she said, and that's what her TED talk said. And I think she said it because at the time she wanted to explain that the narrative about usual people having sex is skewed, let alone those that are disabled. And on the 20th, there are going to be learning disabled people at the conference, all of who want to understand how it is that they can be involved in understanding, seeing, viewing, having access to all the same things as everybody else. Now, I'm going to start at sex because I'll be honest, education isn't there yet. We haven't got equality of access for education. In fact, we haven't got equality of access for much. I was driving home from London today, and at 3 in the morning, there was People Who Changed the World on BBC4 at 3 a.m. Because, of course, that's when disabled people definitely listen and are definitely available. And it's definitely the time to be talking about how we need to change the world. And I find that all of our forays are hidden away, or at 3 in the morning or early. I remember the Open University when they first started talking about disability. It was always the 5 a.m. slot on the TV, or 11 at night, because that's just when it's interesting, right? Because actually nobody wants it on the agenda, which is why I put it on the agenda. I'm a trainee social worker in Wales, and I believe that I'm probably the only social worker that talks to my individuals about sex, particularly if they've had a spinal injury and they may be left physically intact but have no feelings and aren't sure if they're married, whether that's going to be something that can continue. Now, when their nurses and their doctors don't actually talk to them about these things, is there any wonder that they feel alienated and ostracized and like they've got a massive hurdle to overcome, and they can't really build that bridge between who they were and who they are now? I also reminded people this weekend that for those that say, oh, well, we're not included. Well, guess what? For those of you that aren't disabled, you're just yet to be disabled, because most of us don't die in our sleep without some form of disability. So, don't belong, because you're on your way. And that might not sound very positive, but to be honest, it's a bit like saying, I'm not going to get ready for being an adult. I'm not going to learn how to have a bank account because I might not have one. Well, I think you're more likely to become disabled than most things. So it would be a good idea to start understanding now. And I know that many of you here do understand that and have got access to disabled people, friends and family, and even yourself. But the bias and the difficulty with actually talking about it this morning in the People That Change the World, and talking about disability at 3 o'clock, I think, was a psychiatrist who was talking about eating disorders. And as I have been saying for many, many years, we've worked out that eating disorders are very likely to be genetic. Twin studies in the 80s showed that eating disorders were very likely genetic and very likely to do with the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, the way that our genes express and the way that our hormones express, and then the way the brain works. So people weren't talking about eating disorders then, and in fact, bulimia, anorexia nervosa, was diagnosed way early, but bulimia was only recognised in the 80s, and I was diagnosed bulimic then too. And people present differently with different behaviours that arise, in my opinion, from feeling separate, from feeling alienated, and not feeling like there's a bridge to overcome that divide. And this weekend, Toppie Owens has gone yet again into the way of showing people that there is inclusion. And there was more wheelchairs in Heaven this weekend, and I mean Heaven the club, not Heaven the place, than I have seen for a long time. But it's interesting that even the entrance to heaven took a little bit of negotiating. I felt like it was more like Alton Towers on crack than entry to a nightclub, and that's the same for most places. So I would like to think about today about us building those bridges, overcoming those divides, and actually speaking about the things that are true for us, even if that perspective and that opinion and that position is not the same as other people. And really, we are all individuals, right? So therefore, we should really have a separate situation and an individual perspective. And I'm going to invite my amazing humans today on the stage with me to share their perspective, not just about sex. We haven't got to talk about sex all day, although, I have been kind of watching it all weekend. So I'm a little bit clued up and a little bit keyed onto that today. And I'm going on to my last placement. So I'm going to be working with long-term disabled adults with disabilities and their carers. And I would imagine that that won't be a subject that they've had raised very often. But I hope that if they see me on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitch or on Twitter or on here, they hear me or they see me or they know any of you amazing people in this room that they might ask the question of how they can get involved. And it hasn't just got to be about that, right? Because I run Accessibility Partners, and this weekend I've been able to share my Omeo, and that's a hands-free mobility device. I was the only person in an Omeo in heaven, and I was the only disabled person in a hands-free mobility device. Why? Well, because we still need to bridge that divide between the working and the non-working, the disabled and the not disabled, and even the disabled that have access to an NHS wheelchair and the disabled that have access to a wheelchair of their choice or of one that will suit their needs better. And in fact, we fight every day to help people get those personal mobility devices. My Omeo's changed my life. I can go 18 miles an hour. I know that sounds really fast. It's got lights, it's roadworthy. I've got a full UK driving license. And actually, it's no longer so frustrating to get to the shop because although I can go slowly and carefully through the built environment and with other people around the shopping centre, when I want to zip down the road, I can. And I did in London. And actually, I can get places and I can go to spaces that I could never have done before. Now, that's only because I've gone back to work, but going back to work only involved me to go up to 16 hours, and people don't understand that either. They don't realise that if you're disabled and you're in receipt of UK benefits, that actually you can do something called supported permitted work. And we fight every day to let people know that that's the case. Why? Well, because I think that people need to understand what opportunities are in front of them. And unless they do, how can they make choices to bridge that divide? Let's face it, workfulness equals financial stability, or at least financially incrementally more successful, and therefore less exclusion and more inclusion into life. So I feel that today we are getting off to the best start on this Monday morning. We are motivating ourselves to look at a different perspective, to think about how it might be if you weren't able to go to work, you weren't able to go to school, you couldn't get into a hotel like me this weekend in Trafalgar Square, where I couldn't use the lift without asking through a bell, and I couldn't leave the hotel without waiting for somebody to come and assist me. I'm not sure how you'd feel if you just couldn't leave the place you were paying for at will. I know how I feel. I feel trapped. I feel limited, and I feel like everybody else has got a seat at the table, a space at the door, and an opportunity to leave except me. And that makes me frustrated. So I have made it very clear this weekend that it's not okay for the hotel gym not to be accessible. It's not okay for me not to be able to reach the weights. It's not all right for me not to be able to get some water. And in fact, it's 2024, and in my words, not 1971. We've had the equality duty since before the noughties. That's nearly 25 years, well over now. That's a quarter of a century, and we're still fannying around, messing about. It's not okay to be racist. It's not okay to be sexist. It's not okay to be transist, whatever that is, but or whatever, LGBTQI plusist. But it is still okay to be ableist. Well, it's not. And I'm here to say it's not. That's why inclusion exists, and it's here tonight at 7 o'clock. And inclusion's getting stronger. We're opening a space in Cardiff, excuse me, um, where we will be out loud and proud and in the community, sharing who and what and how we are, and making sure that individuals that come to inclusion have the opportunity to start to learn, to live, to love, and to access the same as other people, incrementally, step by step, bridge by bridge, and action by action together, because it's the only way. We've got to get loud and proud, and we've got to get a little bit militant, unfortunately. So, on this Motivational Monday, I hope that you are motivated to be who the hell you are, to say what you feel, and to think about a different perspective. And it might be that you don't feel you're included for whatever reason. It doesn't actually have to be disability. There's lots of reasons why we don't feel together. But I think until we start talking about it, until we break the silence, until we talk about eating disorders and mental ill health, you know, this weekend as well has been a really important weekend. I'm sure you know, Remembrance Sunday, and in London yesterday, you can imagine that there were a lot of incredible people remembering the lives that were lost. But many of our soldiers, many of those people that have been in war, still in war today, Ukraine, for example, in the Middle East, you know, they come back, and they may not come back with their legs blown off, but they certainly come back with their mind blown. We can't see mental ill health, but we can feel it, and we know it, and that makes people feel divided. So whether it's a physical condition that prevents you getting in and out of somewhere, like me, or whether it's a mental health challenge because you feel alienated because nobody understands the situation you've been in, or whether actually it's a combination of all of those, and maybe you've got a hidden disability, a chronic health condition. A lady said to me last night when I went to get the toilet key, halfway up from the service station, she said, actually, you know, I've got a toilet key, but I've never used it. And I said, why not? And she said, because I've got IBS. And my words were, well, come, you should use it. You should definitely use it. She said, yeah, but what if people look and say, look at her, not in a. That's what you just say to them, actually. Not all disabilities are visible. And I know that there's people on this stage that already have a sticker that says that. And we're going to be promoting those in inclusion, for people to understand that it isn't just a wheelchair. In fact, only 2% of disabled people use a wheelchair. But that doesn't mean that we should exclude them, right? I don't know how many bike riders there are in the UK, but we have bike cycle paths, cycling paths, but we don't have wheelchair provision yet. I can put a man on the moon, but I can't get me on the tube. And I'm afraid that it takes people that aren't disabled to stand up and be counted and say that is enough now, because it might be you tomorrow. So let's join together and not have this alienation. I know that I've gone on for a pretty long time, but I'll be honest, whether we're talking about learning disability, neurodivergence, mental illness, chronic health, we're all on our way. Type 3 diabetes is inflammation. It is the new, result is dementia. And Tuppy Owens actually has vascular dementia. Well, she's 80, right? But she was still there this weekend. And, at the end of everything, her words were, I love everybody, and I can't wait to see everybody, and you're welcome to come to my house. She really has overcome barriers, built bridges, and helped people feel included that never really would have been if it hadn't been for her and the work that she's tirelessly carried out. And we're carrying on that legacy on the 20th and onwards, with and without Tuppy. Her new book, Sex Lady on the Hill, is out. And I have to say that when you read the foreword, you realise that she really is a brave lady who smashed down the barriers, built the bridges, and taught the police that it's okay, actually, for disabled people to have sex, even if they pay for it. So thank you for being here. I am a trainee social worker in Wales. If anyone wants to know about workfulness, please do get in touch. If you'd like to join inclusion on a Monday night, please do come along and learn from us and with us. Whether or not you're disabled, you are included. We are building the bridges between those that are and those that are not. Because like I say, we're all on our way to being disabled at some point. Not great news, but it is news. It's just like saying you're definitely going to grow up. We are, well, I mean, I might miss that one out, to be honest. But I certainly have to be grown up enough to be able to do this regularly. So look out for the 55 days, look out for inclusion.gg, go and look at our amazing advent calendar. And if you've got a Christmas jumper, throw me it, will you? Send it me in the post, because I think I'm only on about 19 and I need 55. Those jumpers are then going to be resold, and if we get some infamous ones, then they'll be auctioned next Christmas in our new space and during our Christmas shop. You know that most of the supermarkets put their Christmas cards into landfill. So we're going to ask them to donate them to Inclusion, because we think Christmas can be recycled. People these days just get Christmas decorations every year. I mean, we used to get ours out the loft, and every year, again and again and again, with the the Santa with the wobbly head and the reindeer with one antler still on the mantelpiece, because we just recycled and recycled. It was about memories. Now people get a whole new set every year. So I think we should take advantage of that. And then the people that maybe don't feel they can be included at Christmas, or maybe don't have the money, then maybe, just maybe, we can help them celebrate a time of togetherness and a time of connection and a time of seeing our similarities and not our differences. So heading towards Christmas, I would really love you to start thinking about those things. And don't forget to go and blag some Christmas jumpers for me. I'm very excited to speak to everybody, including James and that amazing GIF. I love a bit of fun, and I'm really up for inclusion just becoming a foregone conclusion, because I just don't see there's another way. We need everybody, right? Especially in these times of austerity. Everyone together, singing from the same song sheet and riding on the same bike. Good morning, Alexa. I think you are first today.
I am.
You are. Good morning.
Good girl. Good morning.
Are you naked?
No, I'm actually dressed.
Well, that's a bloody miracle, isn't it? Saturdays you spend naked in the bath with us.
I got dressed first this morning. I've got Paul coming this morning, and I'm not sure whether I don't care about Daniel. He's sent me my nightwear often enough. Hair as well, and I thought, all these men in the house, I really ought to get some clothes on.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's the opposite.
It's the opposite after this morning's conversation.
Yeah, ping pong balls, eh? Somebody said to me in morning meeting, I thought that only happened, I don't know what they said, on TV or something. I'm like, no, it happened in front of me. I didn't catch any.
Nah. I love what you were saying about the hotels.
In it.
Because even before my disability became so severe, and it is becoming more severe by the day, going in and out of hotels, even if you're standard mobile, if you're carrying a suitcase or a bag, or you've got a child, or you've got paperwork, it's not straightforward.
No.
When you've got a disability, you can multiply that easily by 5, because that's how much more difficult it is to do these things.
Certainly is.
My GP's not going to like me this week, because he's going to have another go. If he doesn't listen, I've decided I'm going into A&E, because I know the NHS is in dire straits. I work quite closely with the NHS. I was a nurse. I'm now looking at it from the other point of view, where as a volunteer, I look at where finances are going and how we use things. But if I'm left in the position I'm in, my leg has become so twisted now that my right foot is pointing away from me, even when I'm sitting down. And my leg, when I stand up, I'm really telling people about this because I want people to realise, I want to explain to some people who are going to listen to this, and you will understand, but maybe many won't, what happens to the body when something becomes out of alignment. It means that on my records, my right leg was originally written down as half an inch shorter than the left, because I never admitted till I met you that I had a disability. But if that leg is now pointing at least, I'm going to measure it later on. At the moment, I'm sitting, I would say it's about 5 inches from the other one. All right, that's the angle I've sat down at because I'm answering the phone. But it's still tilting away from me. So what is that doing to my body? But also, what is that doing to me mentally? This is what happens with a disability. You not only carry a physical disability, you carry a mental disability. That was something that took me a long time to understand when I met you, and yet I was married to someone who went through the Second World War. Now, yeah, he had issues from what he'd seen. He saw his best friend killed in front of him. But because everybody went through a war then, they didn't have any kind of support because there was just too many people going through it. Everybody was. War's changed a lot now, so it does affect a lot of people, but it's a completely different war. But where his issues used to show up, because he was a Frenchman, but he fought in North Africa before he became a prisoner of war. He got malaria. And when he got malaria, he could get absolutely terrifying to live with. I understood it, but it still took some, I don't want to say courage, because that's not the right word. It took a great deal of understanding to deal with it. A friend saw him like it one day, and she was actually terrified. So we all hold these emotions, whether we are disabled and want to have sex, whether it's actually getting around somewhere. I've just been granted somebody to come to me twice a week to help me to do things around the home, and that has taken a lot of accepting by me because of my way I was brought up. You don't ask for any help, you just get on with it. But we are stronger together. We went shopping on Friday, and even on my little scooter, and MJ and James and Jude will know what I'm talking about. It's not the most difficult thing to get on and off of. But with that leg in the situation it is now, it was difficult to even get on and off of that. So we are going to change. The disability was there, but needing a knee replacement, I reckon something really major is going on in my leg because something major is shifted. Because it shouldn't be at that angle if I just need a knee replacement. Now I know I need a leg is supported by tendons, and every animal has some kind of tendons in its body to support it. Mine basically, like a piece of string or a rubber band, have snapped. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my James's butt, making me laugh. Thank you, James. But that doesn't mean as well that life has come to a stop. It means that we do things in a different way. It could happen to you tomorrow. I've said this so many times. And one thing you seriously need to think about, and I will be putting my blog out shortly, is the fact that where does our food come from? Yeah, it comes from this planet. But England being the size it is, we buy in a lot of our food. This government, and I'm not putting politics into this, it wouldn't matter which one was in power, have made a big, big, big error. They're taxing farms, particularly on inheritance. Now, most farms are not owned that way. They are rented. I worked on a farm for over 17 years. And you do not make mega bucks out of farming. You do it because you love the land. So what MJ was saying about Christmas decorations. When I moved to where I was because of the fraud, I hadn't got anything like that. Everything that is on that tree has either come from Daniel's family having a change around what they wanted, or it literally has been picked up off the tree. So please, before you go and buy new decorations, think about the ones you've got. Don't just go out and buy new. It's just leading into being led by somebody else, because that's exactly what TV wants you to do. It's exactly what the adverts want you to do. They don't want you to think for yourself. Yeah, I know companies have got to make money, but you do not need new every year. So just think this Christmas, what you buy, do you really need it? Are you really going to use it? Because doing those little things is what's going to make the difference. We are not, if we carry on the way we are, be able to go to Spain, be able to go to Australia to buy the food we need, because it will be, I've got to feed my people first. That's any government, that's what they're going to do. So you need to start thinking now, not next week, not tomorrow. If you want your grandchildren to have a great planet to live on, and there shouldn't be all this issue with disability. When I grew up, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop in a minute, MJ. Disability was hidden, and yes, it is still happening in the UK. It is still hidden. But it could happen to you tomorrow just by walking out your front door and stepping off the pavement the wrong way. So we can't change some old buildings, but where it is now law that buildings should be disabled accessible, if it's not done at the planning stage, when the local authorities go in and check it, and I will be going after that one in Cambridgeshire as much as I can, put in a complaint, because your councillors are voted in by you. Your MP is voted in by you. You put enough pressure on them, they're going to listen. So don't be afraid to have your say. And I'm going to let someone else do the speaking now, MJ, because I've got to get on with my OU work. Otherwise, I should have somebody talking to me later this week.
You're talking about Chrissy, aren't you? Your tutor. We have the same tutor.
Yeah, it's a bit, because she does give you, in a nice way, she'll give you a kick up the rear.
She is very gentle with it, though, isn't she?
Oh my God, she is. But do you know, you and I both know, talking about temperaments, because we can be fiery. When you do it in the right way, people work with you. Didn't that happen to me with Barry Bennett? I might not have got it as quick as I wanted, but because I didn't go full tilt at them, they've bended to what I want, not what they want.
Absolutely. It's about collaboration and building those bridges incrementally, isn't it? Baby steps together. And you're right about complaining. On the way up as well, I stopped to go to the toilet at the first station where I got some petrol. And although he let me in because I had a toilet, they'd stacked all of their oil at the right-hand side of the way to the toilet, so I couldn't actually get my chair through. And he said, well, shall I help you through? And I said, you can't. I don't know what you're talking about. No, it's not possible. He said, can't you leave it there? I said, no, I can't leave it there. Otherwise, I would. I'd have left it in the van. If I could have done that, I'd have left it at the door.
Funny story before I go.
Go on.
My mum had a great friend, and you'll all love this one. And when she needed to go to the toilet, she needed to go. It wasn't a question she could wait. They were in Spain somewhere. I don't know where they were, but it's better now in Spain. But in those days, there wasn't many places that you could go to the toilet unless you went in a bar. So went in a bar and made it explain they wanted the toilet, and they're all sitting watching football over this door, and this owner says, in there. So they all walk through, these guys watching TV, and there's another door inside that needs a key to get into the loo. And she said, well, I can't wait. So she said, well, you'll have to go in the sink. But what if one of them walks in? So my mum leans on the door, full tilt, and then falls out backwards.
Oh my God. Well, I'll be honest, I asked him for a takeaway cup. Now, I managed to get to the next one with the lady with IBS to get the key. And at least this time, unlike the other day, when I was asked to swap my car keys for the toilet key, he held up a takeaway cup and said, "Your car keys in there." I said, "Mate, there's better games where I put my car keys in a bowl than this one." It's all about the toilets today. Let me tell you guys, I've never played the game where you put your car keys in a bowl. I'm just saying. I'm going to say it right here, right now. That's not because I'm ashamed if I have. I'm just saying I've never played that game. So if anybody's up for it, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, but I shouldn't have to swap my car keys for a toilet key, but they are. Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. Thank you, Alexia. You always brighten my day and you make me realise that I can smash anything out the ballpark. Because if you can, I can, right? And we are stronger together, 1,000,000%. James, you are next. I'm glad we've all been laughing today.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
I don't own a car, but I've got loads of lock keys.
I bet you have. I bet you have. You got a bowl that we can use, James.
The dodgy offer. No, when we talk about bridges, and I'm really was just listening so much this morning. The note I got was, my God, they did build a bridge where I last worked, but the chasm between the HR office door and mine as the trained mental health first aider to point out some clear flaws as to why everyone was terminally depressed in there, and some of them are taking that depression way beyond where they needed to because they were no longer here anymore. And I pointed these out to them and got the door kind of slammed in my face, really, because they said, "On your bike, son." And for me now, that is the state of play that it's at. But I am gladly on my bike because I'm certainly moving forward from where I was, and I've got about 3 coffee boxes. I was in the garden centre yesterday because I needed some soil for my winter plants, some compost, and Mum was like, "What Christmas decorations?" And I'm like, "I've got 3 boxes. I've got one on top, one old coffee box on top of the bookshelf that's marked up Christmas number 3, and I've 2 under bed, and I'm sure I've got some more stuff squirreled away somewhere else. So there's no way." And I'm even taking a tree into the bike shop because this tree that's under bed, I need more room for other bits and pieces that I've managed to collect. But thankfully, I've got rid of a few Christmas jumpers recently, and if you've got any Christmas jumpers, you know the lady in which direction to send them to. But I'm going to leave on the Christmas jumper one because I've got my matching one hung up on the door here, so I'm going to leave that where it is today. But decided on a Mondays now I should go to the gym on the 8:30 bus. It means I can catch the full end of this room, and if it brightens up in a minute outside, another hour or so, I'll be able to peg the washing out, and when I come back from the gym, it'll hopefully be dried. But I hope you all have a beautiful day today, and I'm going to tinkle on because I see Julian and 3 other people behind me in the room, and that's lovely to see. So have a beautiful day, and really thank you again for your team's continued support, because at this time of year it gets a little bit emotional and difficult for everyone in the room. So I'm really grateful for the support I've been receiving, MJ.
Oh, do you know what, James? It was a delight talking to you yesterday on my way down, day before, and you know, we are stronger together. Alexia's right, and even in the dark moments and the dark days, we're there for each other on a Monday morning, on a Monday night at 7, and on a Saturday at 8. So at least 3 touch bases a week we've got, right?
Just one other point: you really need to talk to them guys about a new measurement, because you're half the woman that you were, so you don't need an off-roader. You need the the athletic
I
journey
agree.
to sit on.
I
And
agree.
that comes with nice coloured spokes.
I agree. I can have the baby chair now instead of the meaty one because I am half the woman I was because I've been getting on my bike and cycling, and I have lost about five stone. It's ridiculous, really, when I think about lifting a 10 kilo weight and what that's like. I was lifting tens in the gym when I finally got them down, tens, eights, and sixes, and I was thinking, if you put all these together, they're probably less than what I weighed. It's just crazy. So yeah, absolutely, James. I definitely am little, even though my bum's still quite big in this. It's not as big as it was, I can tell you. So I'm very grateful he went to Da Vinci because, of course, my bike chair got robbed when my van got robbed from the wheelchair accessible vehicle fixers. So we're looking for a new van shortly. But there we are. It's a different story for a different day. We have got 9 minutes left. That's 3 minutes each because I've got to run away at 7 o'clock because I'm going over to the Vale of Glamorgan to do my social work. So, Jew, good morning, good morning, good morning. We've already spoken once, haven't we, my love? Good morning. Are you there? Are you there? I bet he is. Unless he's been got out of bed by his ladies. Jew, 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 can you unmute? I am waiting. I may be waiting a bit of a while. Just gonna wait. Maybe Jew's busy. We'll see. If he is, that's okay. Tony, I will go to you next morning, Smeeta. Morning, lovely. How are you?
Surviving, thanks.
Oh,
I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend Tuppy's Do yesterday.
me too. I'd have really loved you in Tuppy's Do yesterday, but you know what? You were there in spirit, right?
You're muted, MJ.
Oh, for God's sake. You were, I said, you're right. Thank you very much. I was babbling endlessly at you. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Smeeta. Hey, Bad Limo. Lovely to see you all. Yeah, I'd have loved you to have been there, but you were there in spirit, and I've taken lots of video, so I'm going to put that together, and I'm going to share that footage because I got permission to in the break. I couldn't record the event because obviously there's a lot of very personal things going on there. But in the break and in between, I got some great footage of all the amazing people and incredible outfits and fantasticness that is Tuppy. Tuppy was on a throne, and I have to say it was the most fantabulous thing to see her loving the fact that all hundreds of people that she'd ever influenced over her life got together to celebrate her and everything that she is. So you'll see that footage anyway, so that's great.
That's splendid. I don't have much to say, but as I'm a poet, building bridges and overcoming divide is sort of part of what I do. And I'm divided at the moment as to which poem to pick, as to read. I've got some about me, I've got one about Christmas, I've got one about human touch.
Go with your feelings.
Well, the one about Christmas, I think it's a bit of a lecture.
Go on, lecture me.
Christmas cheer. It is that time of year when people like to gather with games and feasts and fests to cheer us. The waning seasons pass and each year's ending chapter. But this year is a little different as pandemic isolates us all. A few years ago, we kept in Ireland's disparate, afraid we might be next to fall. So spare a thought for those for whom this year is a little change. Those for whom the islands swim, always distant and estranged. We who are seldom seen or heard, but often homes and hovels, rarely hearing a kind word, companions, rare and novel, the sick, disabled, elderly, society's hidden number. Too many poor and miserable with loneliness encumbered. For us, on islands are routine, not idyllic paradise. Prison cells without a crime, isolation normalized, and crushing for like rights. So if you have fun this year, with its trials, Fair thought for those for whom this is the endless stage of life, known resignation. Said it was a lecture.
Well, I'll be honest. I think it's the most important part of Christmas is the fact that whilst everybody else is in the festivities, there are so many people that haven't got anyone. And maybe if you've got neighbours, friends, people that you see that feel that you know don't have anyone to talk to and haven't got anyone going around, then this is the time of year. Every day is the time of year, but particularly at this time of year. You know, we've got a minister for loneliness, and 28% of disabled people feel lonely, and actually, you know, that's just not good enough. So I agree, Tony, we need to lecture each other just about connection and about getting over the awkward and asking that person that you see in the street or you know from your road or you know from your corridor that doesn't talk or hasn't seen anyone to say, hey, I've got the kettle on, do you want one? You know, I do. I really think it's time to reconnect. It's what we're missing. It's what COVID did to us, and I think reconnection is absolutely the way forward. I do. So thank you for that lecture. I love you very much.
Love you too.
We have 2 more people on the stage and we've only got 4 minutes, but that's okay. Shula, are you there?
I am.
Yay! Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good
Not
morning.
at my best, but I just wanted to jump on the stage and
Good.
commend you for attending that event. Sounded wonderful.
It was amazing. Thank
Great
you.
about reusing Christmas decorations.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say good morning to you all, really.
Yeah. I want to
haven't
say
got
good
much
morning
more
to
add
you as
today,
well.
but yeah,
I
back
want
to
to
you
say
all.
good morning because I miss you when I don't hear you. So thank you for jumping on the stage and celebrating the fact that I went. It's a long drive, but it was an important thing to do, and it's important to stand up and be counted metaphorically, right? So thank you for that, and I agree, recycling all the way. Thank you, Shula. Good morning, Smita. Not seen you for a while, my love. How are you?
Hey, MJ.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah, I'm better. I was not well, but I'm okay now.
Oh,
Getting better, actually.
good. Well, happy Monday, and it's another Monday, but we've got a choice about what we do with it, right?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said it's another Monday, but we've got a choice about what we do with it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. I agree to it. And definitely, it's a perspective that matters. You know, that is so crucial to have the right perspective. If we have the right perspective, then obviously we can overcome it.
That's
Anything and everything, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
It is.
So the last 1 month was tedious for me, uh, and it was not okay. I was not okay. My hubby was not okay. My kid was not okay. We were all unwell. My hubby met with an accident and he's recovering. My skin had some skin allergies, unexpected allergies, and I had a kidney stone. You know, we are better now, but we are still recovering, to be honest. But then, this is something that I really want to talk about, and that is, it's just the perspective that matters. You know, if you have the right mindset, if we look at a brighter side, if we know how to squeeze lessons, then irrespective of the odds that we face in our life, we can, surely do good. You know, that is something that really matters. And there is something that I would like to read. And this is my go-to poem. I call it my go-to poem. It really helps me to inspire myself when I'm upset. This is from the book Think and Grow Rich. Um, and here it goes. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you lose, you're lost. For out in the world, we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out in the world, we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. So this is, like I said, this is my go-to poem, and I truly believe in this. I keep reading it at regular intervals. And like I said before, and don't mind me repeating, I truly believe that the right perspective is something that really matters. It makes a whole lot of difference in our lives. And I always like to squeeze the lessons. So when I learn a lesson, I pat my back and I tell myself, congratulations, baby girl. You've become more stronger and mature and wiser. you know. So I love giving that pat to myself and I love doing that. That's it. Thank you.
Do you know what, Smita? I love you and I miss you. And when you're here, you bring great joy and you bring great learning. And I'm glad that you speak to yourself in that way. And you really have. You're right, baby girl. You have. You have brought a new perspective to this morning. And I love you very much for it. Thank you for reminding me about Think and Grow Rich. I read that book, well, every day. I have the 17 principles on my wall. And I love the fact that I just keep getting reminded that I'm on the right path, because the right path is my path. And actually, I can make the difference with my attitude to gratitude, actually. And I'm very grateful to you and to everybody that's been here this morning. Look, we've been in Motivational Monday. We have definitely been building bridges and overcoming our divides. It's great to see everyone that's joined us today. Please do come back on a Monday at 6 a.m. We're in Inclusion, if you're looking for the Inclusion House, at 7 p.m. on a Monday night. And on Saturday at 8, we are in Belonging in Business back in MJ's house. So whether you're at the beginning of the week or at the back end, we're here at 6 a.m. on a Monday and 8 a.m. on a Saturday, and in between, well, you'll find us at 7 p.m. and probably in between online. Follow us, go to inclusion.gg, have a look at that advent calendar, because I think it's genius, and I also think that we are definitely better together. There's going to be 55 lessons or 55 sessions or 55 ideas, and don't forget 55 Christmas jumpers. Let's see if I can meet the challenge. I've definitely set myself up for that challenge, and now all I need is everyone to join with me and help. Thank you to all those people that have sent Christmas jumpers. Thank you to you, James. Thank you to you, Fran. Thank you to everyone so far for helping me. They're coming from all over the world, and well, we've just got more than I could ever have thought I would have at this stage in November. Please do join with us on social media, and go and have a look at the websites. We really do need allies in inclusion, because the only way is together to overcome those divides and build those bridges. I want to say goodbye to everybody on the big Facebook and on LinkedIn and on Twitch and on Twitter and on YouTube. I'm going to say bye.